get ready, because today we're going deep into the world of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And things are getting a little bit spicy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've got Crypto.com, a major crypto exchange, squaring off against the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission,
Oh, wow.
in a legal battle. And this could actually reshape the entire industry.
So, what are the stakes here? What's the big deal with this case?
Well, the core issue is that Crypto.com is saying, the SEC is trying to say, almost every single crypto trade out there is a securities transaction.
So it's like buying and selling Bitcoin is the same as trading Apple stock.
Yeah, exactly. And they're saying the SEC's approach is, quote, a disaster for the whole crypto world.
Wow. Strong words. Are they alone in this fight, or are other players feeling the heat too?
Well, Crypto.com got what's called a Wells notice.
A Wells notice? What's that?
So basically, it's a yellow card
Yeah.
from the SEC, like a warning shot saying, hey, we might be coming after you with some legal action.
Okay, so things are getting serious. But to really understand how big this could be, we need to remember where cryptocurrencies started.
Right.
Rewind back to 2009. This mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto creates Bitcoin. It was meant to be this decentralized alternative to the regular financial system.
Yeah, I remember when Bitcoin was this niche thing, and mostly for tech people and people who were kind of skeptical of, the big banks.
Right.
But then its price exploded, and suddenly everyone was interested. It was like finding gold in your backyard, kind of.
And then Ethereum came along, and that opened up a whole bunch of new possibilities. We're talking smart contracts, these self-executing agreements written into code. That technology powers a lot of the really cool things we see in crypto today, like DeFi and NFTs.
And now, fast forward to today. Crypto is like a household name. We've got these huge companies like Tesla, PayPal. They're all into crypto. Even governments are looking at central bank digital currencies. It's pretty amazing how far it's come.
It really is. But even with all this progress, there are still challenges. Governments are still trying to figure out how to deal with crypto. And then there's the whole energy consumption issue. Mining crypto takes a lot of power, which isn't great for the environment.
True. It's not perfect. But one thing's for sure, crypto is here to stay. It's woven into the fabric of finance, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why this fight between Crypto.com and the SEC is so important. You have these crypto companies saying the SEC is overreaching, going way beyond what they're allowed to do. But then the SEC says, hold on, the crypto world needs to play by the rules. You've got to protect investors.
Right. And Crypto.com is essentially saying the SEC made this unlawful rule that says almost every crypto trade is a securities transaction. They're saying this is stifling innovation and holding back the whole industry.
It's a classic battle of innovation versus regulation, right? And it's not just Crypto.com. Other big names in crypto like Robinhood, Coinbase, OpenSea, they've all gotten these warnings from the SEC.
Yeah, it's a sign the SEC is cracking down on what they see as unregulated activity. But Crypto.com isn't giving up. They've taken their fight to federal court in Texas. And get this, they're naming SEC Chair Gary Gensler and 4 other commissioners personally as defendants.
Wow. Going after them directly, that's a big move. It shows how seriously they're taking this. They're not afraid to challenge the SEC's authority.
Right. And there's another layer to their strategy. They've also filed a petition with both the SEC and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. This petition specifically focuses on the regulation of cryptocurrency derivatives.
Ah, so they're hitting them from multiple angles.
Exactly. They're hoping that both the SEC and the CFTC will say that these crypto derivatives should only be regulated by the CFTC, not the SEC. It's like a two-pronged attack to get some regulatory clarity.
Very clever. This dual petition strategy is a fascinating move, and it could set a precedent for how all these crypto derivatives are regulated in the future. Definitely something to keep an eye on.
So, as we can see, the relationship between crypto and the regulators is constantly evolving. This whole Crypto.com and SEC battle is just one chapter in a much bigger story.
And that story, it's full of twists and turns. Impossible to predict what's going to happen next.
Speaking of the future, let's shift gears and talk about some of the mind-blowing innovations happening in crypto right now. We're going to explore the potential of DeFi, Web3, and the Metaverse, all of which are pushing the limits of what's possible with cryptocurrency.
Welcome back to our deep dive into crypto.
Yeah, last time we left off, things were getting a little heated between Crypto.com and the SEC.
Definitely. And before we jump back into that, maybe let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture here.
Right. This isn't just one company fighting with the government, right?
Exactly. What's happening with this case could have a huge impact on the entire crypto industry. It's setting a precedent.
Okay, so break it down for me. What's really at stake here?
Well, one of the biggest things is like regulatory clarity.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that phrase a lot, but what does it actually mean?
Basically, the crypto world has been asking for like clear guidelines from regulators for ages. They want to know the rules of the game so they can play fairly.
Right, right. Makes sense.
But right now, it kind of feels like everyone's just guessing, hoping they don't get in trouble.
Oh, I see. So having a clear regulatory framework would make things, like, more stable.
Yeah, exactly. It would bring more certainty for businesses, maybe even encourage more like big investors to get involved. But there's also the flip side.
Oh, like what?
What if the SEC wins this case? Could that actually stifle all the innovation that's happening in crypto?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, if the SEC gets too much power to regulate crypto, it could create this really stifling environment. Like, could you imagine if every new crypto project had to jump through a million hoops just to get started?
Yeah, it'd be like trying to run a marathon with your legs tied together.
Exactly. It would be really tough for anything new to emerge. And that goes against, like, the whole spirit of crypto.
Yeah, pushing boundaries, experimenting, that's always been a big part of it.
Right. So it's this delicate balance. On the one hand, you want to protect investors, but on the other hand, you don't want to kill the innovation that's making crypto so exciting.
It's like walking a tightrope. One wrong step, and things could go really wrong.
Exactly. It's fascinating to think about all the different scenarios that could play out. Like, imagine the SEC wins and we get all these strict regulations. It could lead to a more centralized crypto market.
Which is kind of ironic, right? Since decentralization is like the whole point of cryptocurrency.
Right. It just shows you the tension between the ideals of crypto and the realities of the existing financial system.
Yeah. The old guard versus the new guard.
And then you have the opposite scenario. Crypto.com wins, the court puts limits on the SEC's power, and maybe we get a more, like, Wild West environment.
More freedom, but also maybe more scams and things like that.
Exactly. There's always a trade-off.
Okay, so this case could have a ripple effect, but it also brings up a question. Who's actually in charge here?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. This whole case really highlights the confusion around which regulatory body should be overseeing crypto.
Right, we've got the SEC, the CFTC, even the Treasury Department. It's like a regulatory turf war.
It's more than just a turf war, though.
What do you mean?
It's a question of jurisdiction, like which agency is actually best equipped to regulate this new asset class.
Yeah. Crypto doesn't really fit into any of the existing boxes, does it?
Not really. It's not exactly a security, not exactly a commodity, and not exactly a currency either. So who gets to call the shots?
That's the million-dollar question.
And this case might actually give us some answers.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, if the court sides with Crypto.com's petition to the CFTC, it could shift the balance of power.
Interesting.
The CFTC could end up with more authority over crypto derivatives.
Oh, wow. That could change everything.
It could. This case has the potential to reshape the entire regulatory landscape, not just in the U.S., but globally.
Okay, so this is clearly a big deal. But what does it all mean for the average person? Like someone who's just trying to figure out this whole crypto thing.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that education is key.
Like, do your research, understand the risks and all that?
Exactly. Don't just blindly follow the hype or listen to some influencer on social media.
All right. Got to think for yourself.
Yes. Do your own research, figure out how the technology works, and of course, always invest responsibly.
Couldn't agree more.
And as this case plays out, pay attention to both sides of the argument.
Oh, yeah. Don't just get caught up in the headlines.
Think critically about what the different outcomes could mean.
Because this isn't just some abstract legal thing, right?
No, not at all. This is a fight that's going to shape the future of finance. It could have a real impact on your life, whether you're actively involved in crypto or not.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the legal battle, the regulatory landscape, and what it all means for the average person. Now, let's shift gears and talk about some of the exciting stuff happening in the crypto space. Because despite all this uncertainty, the world of crypto is still moving forward at an incredible pace.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're seeing all sorts of innovation in areas like DeFi, Web3, the Metaverse. It's amazing to see what people are building with this technology.
Let's start with DeFi, decentralized finance. It's been generating a lot of buzz lately.
DeFi is basically a parallel financial system that operates outside of traditional banks and institutions. It's all built on blockchain technology.
So it's like cutting out the banks entirely.
That's the general idea, yeah.
Okay, but what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, imagine being able to lend money, borrow money, trade assets, even earn interest on your crypto, all without involving a bank.
Wait, earn interest on my crypto. Now you got my attention.
It's one of the most appealing aspects of DeFi. You deposit your crypto into a DeFi protocol, and just like that, you start earning interest.
No bank taking a cut or anything?
Nope. DeFi gives individuals more control over their finances and opens up all sorts of possibilities that just aren't available in the traditional financial system.
This is starting to sound pretty revolutionary.
It is, especially for people who don't have access to traditional financial services.
So DeFi could actually level the playing field, give everyone a chance to participate in the global economy.
That's the goal, to create a more inclusive financial system that's open and accessible to everyone, no matter where they live or what their background is.
Okay, this is pretty mind-blowing stuff. But I have to ask, are there any downsides?
Of course. DeFi is still in its early stages, and there are definitely risks involved.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, since DeFi is decentralized, there's no central authority to turn to if something goes wrong. If you lose your crypto in a DeFi protocol, there's no one to bail you out. You're responsible for your own security, and you need to do your due diligence.
Got it. So DeFi is not for the faint of heart.
Right. But for those who are willing to learn and take on some risk, DeFi offers a world of opportunity.
Okay, that's really helpful. Now, let's talk about Web3. I keep hearing this term, but I'm not sure I fully understand it.
Web3 is often seen as like the next evolution of the internet.
So like Web 1.0 was the early days, Web 2.0 is what we're using now.
Yeah.
What's different about Web 3?
Well, Web 2, the internet we use today, is mostly controlled by a handful of big companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon. Web 3 aims to create a more decentralized internet where users have more control over their data and their online experience.
Wait, so instead of Facebook or Google owning all our data, we own it ourselves?
Exactly.
But how does that even work?
Well, Web 3 uses blockchain technology to create a more decentralized and transparent internet. Let's say you're using a social media platform that's built on Web 3. Your data isn't owned and controlled by the platform itself. It's owned and controlled by you.
So I would get to decide who has access to my information, how it's used, all of that.
Precisely. And that's just one example. Web 3 could revolutionize all sorts of online platforms and services.
Okay, but how does cryptocurrency fit into all of this?
Crypto plays a crucial role in Web 3. It provides the infrastructure for ownership, governance, and value exchange in this new internet ecosystem. It's like the fuel that powers the Web 3 engine.
I like that analogy. So this new internet, powered by blockchain and crypto, will allow for the creation of all sorts of decentralized applications, like those dApps I keep hearing about.
Exactly. dApps are applications that run on a decentralized network, like a blockchain. They give users more control and transparency than traditional applications.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine a ride-sharing app like Uber or Lyft, but it's built on Web 3. Instead of a central company controlling the platform and taking a cut of each ride, the platform is owned and governed by the users themselves, the drivers and riders.
Oh, wow. So they could potentially earn more money and have more say in how the platform operates.
Exactly.
This Web3 thing is starting to sound pretty amazing.
It has the potential to change the way we interact with the internet and each other in profound ways. But it's important to remember that Web3 is still in its early stages.
Right. And there are always challenges with any new technology.
Absolutely. Scalability is a big one. Can blockchain technology handle the massive amount of data and transactions that a truly decentralized internet would generate? And then there's the question of user adoption. Will people be willing to switch from the familiar Web 2 platforms to a new and potentially more complex Web 3 world?
Those are good questions.
Yeah.
I guess only time will tell if Web3 can live up to the hype.
That's right. But it's definitely an exciting space to watch.
Okay, so we've covered DeFi and Web3. Now let's talk about the Metaverse. That's another term that gets thrown around a lot these days.
The Metaverse is essentially a persistent virtual world where people can interact with each other, play games, attend events, even conduct business.
Okay, so it's kind of like stepping into a video game, but is more than just entertainment, right?
Right. The Metaverse has the potential to revolutionize all sorts of things, from social interaction and commerce to education and healthcare.
Wow. That sounds pretty ambitious.
It is, and crypto is playing a key role in making the metaverse a reality.
Okay, how so?
Cryptocurrencies and NFTs are essential for creating a functioning economy within the metaverse. They allow for digital ownership of virtual assets. So you could buy virtual real estate, artwork, clothing, even experiences, all using crypto.
So it's like having a whole separate economy inside this virtual world.
Exactly. And because these assets are stored on a blockchain, they're secure, verifiable, and easily transferable.
It's incredible to think about all the possibilities. But let's get back to reality for a moment.
Sure.
We've talked about all the amazing potential of crypto, but we also have to acknowledge the challenges. Things like scalability, energy consumption, and the potential for fraud and scams are still major concerns.
Right. Those are real issues that need to be addressed if crypto is going to reach its full potential.
We've heard a lot about the environmental concerns surrounding crypto mining. Is there any hope for a more sustainable future for crypto?
That's a great question. And the good news is that there are promising developments in that area. Some cryptocurrencies are transitioning to more energy-efficient consensus mechanisms like proof of stake.
I've heard of proof of stake, but I'm not really sure how it works.
It's a way of verifying transactions and securing a blockchain network that doesn't require massive amounts of energy, unlike the traditional proof of work model.
So it's basically a greener way to do crypto.
Exactly. It's a more environmentally friendly alternative.
That's great news. I was worried that crypto's energy consumption would be its downfall.
It's definitely a concern, but the industry is actively working on finding solutions.
Okay, that's good to hear. What about scalability? Crypto transactions can be pretty slow and expensive, especially compared to traditional payment systems.
That's true, but developers are working on solutions to this problem as well.
Oh, like what?
Things like Layer 2 networks and sharding are showing a lot of promise. Think of Layer 2 networks like adding express lanes to a highway. They help to speed up transactions by handling some of the traffic off of the main blockchain. And sharding is like dividing a database into smaller chunks, which makes it easier to process transactions more quickly.
So it sounds like the future of crypto is bright, but there's still work to be done.
That's a good summary. It's a rapidly evolving landscape with both opportunities and challenges.
But one thing is for sure, crypto is here to stay.
Absolutely. It's going to continue to disrupt and reshape the world as we know it.
It's a wild ride, and we're just getting started.
Before we move on, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
This whole saga with Crypto.com and the SEC really highlights the fact that crypto is at a crossroads. The decisions being made right now about regulation, about technology, about adoption, these decisions will have a profound impact on the future of crypto. So stay informed, engage in the conversation, and let's all work together to create a future for crypto that is innovative, inclusive, and sustainable.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, let's take a quick break and then come back to explore the future of crypto and what it all means for you. All right, so we're back and ready to look ahead at, what's next for crypto?
Yeah, we've talked about a lot, haven't we?
We have Crypto.com versus the SEC, the potential of DeFi and Web3. It's been a wild ride.
It really has. But now it's time to, bring it all together.
Right. And talk about what it all means for you, the listener. Why should you care about all of this?
That's the big question, isn't it? Well, first of all, cryptocurrency is, becoming more and more a part of our financial system.
Whether you're personally invested in it or not.
Exactly. So what happens with this case? The future of crypto, regulation, all of that, it could have a ripple effect across the whole financial world.
It could impact how we invest, how we send money, even how we think about money itself.
Yeah, this isn't just some abstract legal battle. It has real-world implications for all of us.
So what can people do?
The most important thing is to stay informed. Educate yourself about this stuff. Learn about crypto. Learn about blockchain technology.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Dig deeper.
Exactly. Challenge the assumptions you might have. Think critically about all the information out there.
Because there's a lot of noise, a lot of hype in the crypto world.
There is. It's important to be able to tell what's real and what's not.
Right. And to make smart decisions for your own financial future.
Exactly. And remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Ooh, I like that.
The crypto world is always changing. There will be ups and downs. But if you're patient and you're persistent, the rewards could be huge.
So buckle up and enjoy the ride. That's it for our deep dive into the world of cryptocurrency.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you learned something new, maybe even got a little excited about the future of finance.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
The future is decentralized.